For latest updates, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon.
So we go like this, that there will be some introductory remarks from my side. Then we undergo with the whole presentation. You can write in questions in the chat box. I don't know whether you can virtually raise your hands, because normally I use two screens, but today one of the screens is giving an echo. So put it in the chat, and maybe you can raise your hand also. Somebody will tell me. You can stop me at any point in time, right? The idea is to be able to help you all, and please don't hesitate in asking question you want to ask. Now, while this program was designed to help people with the oral exams, we received a lot of requests from others to say that, sir, we would also like to attend, even though we are not sitting for the exam. So once we got those requests, we said that yes, it's possible for you to attend, and I will attempt to be able to answer all of you in that manner. So there might be a little bit of concentration on the exam, but you all must appreciate that what is an exam after all? We are all undergoing the same exam every day when we have to meet senior officers of the government of India, the different regulators, and in my 40 years, 45 years work experience, I have seen that people with very good domain knowledge are unable to get things done through the department, and people with limited knowledge can get a lot of things done through the department. It has nothing to do with your ability to facilitate something. That means your ability to give them money or to give them any favors. There is nothing like that. There is nothing which says that unless you pay them money, your work will not be done. So please understand that facilitation is not going to be the answer. For those of you who are sitting for the exam, also I need to explain to you that you may receive requests from your locational custom house where your oral interviews are going to take place, asking you that I can help you get through the oral exam. My experience tells me that there is nothing like that, but it is only junior officers or office clerks taking a risk, asking for money, and if you pass the exam, they will pocket it. You don't pass the exam, they'll return it by saying, I'm sorry, mere se nahi hua. But I would leave it to you. It is your decision what you want to do. So at the outset, again, congratulations to each of you for taking out the time and attending this program. And for those of you who are sitting for the exam, please remember that the most difficult portion of the exam was only the written paper. The oral paper is not, the oral examination is not as difficult as the written one. So in case you have to pass the written examination, you should not have a lot of trouble in passing the examination. So first thing, in everything that we do on a daily basis, with the department or with anybody, we should be following the ask principle. By using the ask principle, what I mean is, I see a lot of people, I think this is how it is done. I think this is what needs to be done. I think this is what will happen. You are nobody to think. The law in India and everything in India is written down. So you are nobody to think that how it is to be done. It is your job to read it, understand it, and then implement it. So don't shy away from asking questions. Even today, after so many years of work experience, I have no hesitation in asking people, "Okay, how do you do this? Or this is my problem, what is your suggestion? This is my issue, how do you think I should tackle it?" So don't feel diffident in asking people. Somewhere I think we are becoming people who believe, I don't want to ask. I put it on the group, I just wrote about it, I sent an email, they didn't reply, I didn't do it. Don't do that. Especially when you are meeting a senior person, either in the private sector or in the public sector, please understand what ask is. Ask is when you use your heart, your hand, and your head at the same time. So that would be, you must have the correct attitude. That is, try and understand why something is happening. Have the necessary skills to understand how it is to be done, and the knowledge to appreciate what is being done. Every time you meet somebody, or especially when you are meeting a person at a senior level, you must remember that that person is going to judge you by seeing how good are you at how, why, and what. They will always want all these three to come up to you at the same time. And if they get an answer, or if they understand that you are in a position to give an answer to these three things at the same time, it will make a lot of difference on them. There is always a partiality when you meet a person. He has an approach. He has his own way of thinking. He is going to make his own judgments. Even if you are right, if the way you do it is not right, even if you know everything, but you are unable to convey it correctly, it will not have the desired effect. And when you are going for the exam, why are you going for the exam? Or why do you ever go to a senior government bureaucrat? You go just to get your work done. So your exam is to ensure that you pass. In other cases, you are going there to ensure that your work is done. Now, how do you tackle the whole thing? Is by addressing that he is understanding you very well. He is getting a feeling that you can explain why, how, and what of the whole thing. So please get into it with a lot of commitment, a lot of purpose, and a lot of understanding of the processes. Somewhere, my feeling over the last few years, and I'm sorry to say this, is that the interest of everyone in understanding finer things, the effort to be done. If you look at it, the custom brokers exam gives you an average of 4% passing. The G card exam you lesser than that. Now, how can it be? The government is not stupid that they will make it so difficult for you to work. They are not making it difficult for you to work. They need you. Without a custom broker, without F card holders, G card holders, this entire system of international cargo movement will go for a toss. So they need you. It is not that they don't need you. They need you, and they need you continuously. So please understand that the fault is not on the way they are configuring the exam. The fault is more on the part of the people who are taking the exam. We are not working hard enough. So it's a physical meeting. Whenever you meet an officer, it's a physical meeting. And that physical meeting is to test your ability. That what is your ability? Do you make a positive impact on the person whom you meet, or you don't make a positive impact on the person you are meeting? And for those of you who sit for the exam, be very clear that there are no guidelines that they have to pass only a certain number of people. They will pass any and everybody, which also relates that when you go for your routine work to any senior bureaucrat, he doesn't have a decision that today I'm only going to say yes to 5 people, and once my quota of 5 is over, I'm going to start saying no. It's not like that. If you make a positive impact, if you can give him that assurance that you are capable and that you are doing the right thing, you should not have a problem in getting through his mind and his agreeing to do whatever you want him to do. Now, not only for the exam, but specifically for the exam, always remember this: check out the place. Go one day in advance. So those of you who are going to travel, I want to just 1 minute stop over here. Rishabh, but you cannot use that backdrop. If you use that backdrop of CBIC, you may get into trouble. Please don't use a backdrop which you are not permitted to use. So first is, whenever you have an exam, or you are going to go for a hearing, or you are going to meet a very senior person, always check out the place in advance. So it means that for those of you who's going to travel to another city, go one day in advance. Go one day in advance, go and have a look at the place. Don't just land up over there. On the day of your exam or on the day of an appointment when you have with anybody, please reach early. Don't make the senior person wait. He is fed with a lot of information. He is responsible in a manner that we don't understand. He has a lot of things to be done. He has a liability on a lot of things. So don't make the person wait. Don't walk into his room in a very flustered manner. You have to be very relaxed. You have to convey to the person that I am relaxed, and that's how you work with them. So reach early on that day. Remain very cool. You have to remain cool in the circumstances. Whatever happens. Whatever happens, you cannot get flustered. You cannot get upset. You cannot show that you are nervous. You cannot show that you don't know what is happening. You have to remain as cool and composed as much as possible. Secondly, whenever you're going for your exam, or you're going for a hearing, or you're going to meet a senior person for a specific work, remain undisturbed. That is, don't go and ask a lot of people. Don't talk to a lot of people at that time. You do your homework in advance. Remain over there in a very undisturbed manner. It's okay if people feel you are arrogant. It's okay if people feel that you are not social. It's perfectly all right that people feel he or she thinks no end of himself or herself. It's perfectly all right. Your purpose is that for whatever purpose I have gone, that has to get achieved. Your purpose is not to please the other people. Your purpose is not to make an impact on the other people. Your purpose is to achieve whatever you want once you go into the room. So always remain undisturbed and keep to yourself. And most important, carry some grooming articles. Always carry a comb or a small deo, a napkin, so that you can wipe off all the perspiration that all of us face in India. Ensure that your shirt or your top or your sari is done correctly in that little time that you have before you go inside the room. Now, what is an interaction with an officer, or what is the exam all about? Every time you go inside, you must remember that it is a test of law. What is the meaning of a test of law? You have to understand the macro to be able to understand the micro, or to be able to explain the micro. You have gone in for a micro activity, you have not gone in for a macro activity. But to be able to explain the micro activity, you have to understand the macro level. I still meet a lot of people across the country who are working in customs, custom clearances. But if you ask them a simple question as to what is customs, you ask them a simple questions that who are the four regulators you have to address for every movement across an international border, they are unable to answer it. They are unable to answer the role of DGFT, why there is a DGFT. They're unable to understand that drawback is not an incentive. They are unable to understand that why are there PGAs? How are the PGAs configured? How do I link the HSN or the CTH or the GSTH or the RITC? How do I link each of them? How do I link them to the PGA? So unless you understand the macro of the whole thing, you will never be able to understand, appreciate, or convey your understanding of the micro. So the micro is what you're going to talk about. But when you are talking about the micro, you have to understand the macro of the whole thing. I'll give you all a very simple example. There was one oral examination which took place in Bombay. The person who went for the examination had done wonderfully well in the MCQ, I mean, in the written paper. He already was an MBA from a university, and he was undertaking custom clearance for about 2 years to the satisfaction of his clients and everybody before he went for the examination. But when he went for the examination, they failed him because he could not convey to them in the correct manner what was needed. He was asked a question that a first time person comes to your office and he tells you that I want to export peacock feathers. What will you do? A first time person comes to your office and tells you that I want to export peacock feathers. What will you do? His answer was that I will check whether he has an IEC. I will see whether all his registrations are correct or not. The people conducting his exam stopped him right there and they said, please go. Because the first thing you are supposed to do is to check whether the commodity can be exported or not be exported. After that comes the eligibility of the person who wants to do it. The eligibility of the person who wants to do it does not come before the permissibility of export or import of that item. Had he answered that I will first check whether peacock feathers can be exported or not, and then he had gone into the eligibility of the company, it would have been a correct process. So you need to be genuinely very careful in understanding what are you exporting or importing? Commodity. You are not being exported or imported. So always in customs, the commodity comes above the company or the individual who's going to undertake that export or import. So whenever you try to do all these things, you must appreciate that every time any interaction you do with customs or any other regulator, it's always based on the law. It cannot be outside the law. Second would be, how do you understand the legal provisions? Your understanding may not be his understanding. That is not needed. You can agree to disagree with him. You can have a different view. But do you have a view? Do you have something to say? Or is it that this is what I have heard, this is what other people are doing, this is what I have heard, and this is what other people are doing, is not your understanding of the legal provisions. Your understanding of the legal provisions has to be only your understanding of the legal provisions. The next thing would be very important. How do you transmit your knowledge? How do you place your answer? How do you structure your answer? How do you do it? This example of the oral examination, I am sure the person knew very well that he cannot deal in a commodity which would have been prohibited, or he could not deal in a commodity which was restricted unless the conditions were met with. He did understand that. But he started at stage 2 instead of starting at stage 1. So your ability to transmit the knowledge in a very simple, structured, sequential manner becomes very important. You can't just give an answer that, this all is there. You now take out your answer and you understand what I'm trying to say. So that's why I've summarized it. Your ability to convert the knowledge into a solution which is easy, quick, and legal is what is required. So anytime you undertake any of these activities, you must address that the solution that you are giving is based on your understanding, is easy, quick, and legal. So keep that in mind, and always remember that whenever you are sitting in front of somebody, you are being tested. Your knowledge is not being tested. Because if he says yes, you are going to go out and do something. He says no, you are going to go out and do something. So he cannot stop you from going out and doing something. But he has to get convinced that yes, you are the right person for this work. Yes, you are the correct request you are making. So what do? You must know your subject well. You can't afford to go in by saying that I do not know my subject well. You have to do a preparation. You have to do a reading. You have to yourself do it. You can't say, I asked him and this is what he had told me, or this is what is actually happening, or this is how everybody else is doing. In India, everything is written down. There is nothing which happens which is not written down. So you have to have the ability to find out where it is written down. You have to understand your subject well. Second thing is, you should know how to structure your answer. That is the most important thing. Don't start in the wrong manner. See, very often in our offices also what happens is, people phone and say, today I am not coming. Now, that's not structuring a statement. The correct thing would be that today I'm having this problem, so I will not be able to come to work. That would be a correct structuring. Whenever you answer, you must not keep your answer open to further questions. So what do? You think about the answer. Then you think that if I say this is the possible counter question that I'm going to get. And then you start answering by addressing the counter question also. By doing that, you are making it easy for that person and you are not letting him ask you further questions. He has to actually work and think, now what can I ask this person? He's already answered my doubts in the first time only. He has not left anything open for me to think about. So you must structure your answers very carefully and very completely, and try to structure an answer where the other person cannot ask you another question. You have to remain confident because you are a professional person. You must understand who is a professional. You are a professional only if the other person feels you are a professional. Just because you have a degree, or just because you are doing something, just because you are a lawyer or a chartered accountant or whatever you are not a professional. The person dealing with you must get a feeling that, yeah, he's a professional person. That is the real test. So, first thing, grooming. You should not only worry about the top or the bottom 10 inches, but your complete self. It's a physical meeting. So, whenever you go in for a physical meeting, in most cases, you will notice that when you walk into the chamber, the officer is not available straight away. You have to walk 3, 4, 5 steps to reach the person. And in those 3, 4, 5 steps, whether he or she is looking at you or not looking at you, the person is judging you right from top to bottom and bottom to top. So be very careful in the way you dress up, in the way you carry yourself, in the way you walk in. So be clear that not only my face, but even my clothes, my shoes, my watches, my pockets, everything is going to be seen. So don't go in like most Indian men go, with bulging pockets in the shirt and bulging pockets in their trousers. Don't ever do that. Don't carry anything inside with you. It's something they don't appreciate at all. Yeah, in today's times, you carry your mobile with you. It's perfectly all right, though for the exam, you are not going to be permitted to carry your mobile. You carry some papers with you on which you have to talk. That's okay. In the exam, you don't have to carry any papers also. But don't take a lot of things with you. Put your bags down, then open your bag, take it out, try to take out papers and put everything. Please don't do that. It does not make sense to anybody. Then, do you greet them or you don't greet them? Every time you meet somebody, and especially for those of you who are going for the exam, you must greet, but it cannot be loud. Which means you don't go outside and put your hand in front of everyone. You don't really give a cheerful good morning or hello or anything like that. We are Indians. The best thing to do would be either do this. If you are not comfortable doing this, give them a big smile and nod at each of them. Say a soft good morning, good afternoon, depending on the time that you are going in. And when you are walking in, please learn to manage your hands and feet very carefully. I see a lot of people doing this, then they will do something like this. They will fold their legs and all of that. Please don't do that. You have to understand that these things are not done. So greet everybody, but don't make it loud. Don't go very close to them unless they put out their hands. And in 9 out of 10 cases, bureaucrats don't shake hands. They shake hands only if they meet you outside their chamber. In 9.5 out of 10 times, the bureaucrat will not stand up when you walk in. So you must appreciate that I am still supposed to greet the person. I'm not supposed to be loud. I'm not supposed to be intrusive, but I have to greet the person. I can't just go in and start walking. I have to learn to manage my hands and feet very carefully. The next is, how do you tackle any questions that are asked to you? very clearly be honest and frank. How to be honest and frank, I will show you, but be honest and frank and don't bluff. Don't think that you are clever. Ke I told him a story and it got over. It won't happen. They are not stupid people. They are very clever people. And that is why they are sitting over there. They may appear to be stupid. They may appear to be anything else, but they are not that. They're not that at all. They're very senior people. So be honest and frank in your approach with them. Do not bluff. So it's perfectly all right to say, okay, I did not understand. If you want that time to think on whatever is being asked to you, you can always say, okay, sir, can you please repeat? I didn't understand your question. You can say, I will have to check, but I think this should be the answer. So that means you are giving your view, you are giving an answer, you are not, you may be even bluffing, but you are telling them in advance that, look, I'm not sure, but this might be the solution. So which means that even if your solution is wrong, it's not your solution, it's just your possible judgment of the solution. So be loud and clear that I'll have to check, but possibly it might be this, but I'm not very sure about it. It's very okay to say, I am not very sure. But it is completely not acceptable to say, I don't know. The moment you give an answer which says, I do not know, that interview is over. Whether it's for your regular work or for the exam. The moment you say, I do not know, so never say, I do not know. You can say, I'll check. You can say, sir, I'm not very sure, but I think I will do this. You want time to think about the question. So can you please repeat your question because I didn't get your question correctly? Or possibly I did not understand your question correctly. So this is a very normal thing to do, but it is absolutely wrong on your part to say, I don't know. Because the moment you will say, I don't know, that interview is over. That activity is over. The next thing is you must know who you are. This is what I think as Indian custom brokers, we always forget. We forget that we are third party service providers. We are not importers. We are not exporters. We are not custom officers. We are an independent entity who is supposed to do a lot of work. So we need to be very clear on who we are. I very often hear people saying, my client, my client, my cargo, my cargo. It's not your cargo. And he's your client only for that particular file. The first obligation under the custom broker licensing regulations is that you will take a letter of authority for every clearance that you do. So automatically, he has appointed you only for that consignment. The cargo is not yours. Don't stand there and say it is my cargo. So understand your role very carefully. Then what are we doing on a daily basis? Whatever discussion you may be having on whatever point, and in your examination also, whatever questions are being asked to you, there are a few things you must know. And those are the ones which I have listed down for you. And all the current changes you have to know. This presentation will be shared on the WhatsApp group. So you will all have this presentation. But basic things you have to know. You can't say कि अरे क्या ये DPE क्या होता है? You can't be doing that. So principally, even on the procedure, if there is a procedural question that is being asked to you, you must know the procedure in this manner: what, why, when, who, where, how. You can't say, I'm not sure. The superintendent does it or AC does it. I don't know. I don't know whether this will go to additional or this will go to commissioner. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether what is the job of the custodian, is the job of the shipping line, is the job of the airline, is the job of the surveyor. You can't be doing all of that. You just can't be doing all of that. You can't be saying, I'm not sure how it will go to the PGA. Does it go on single window or is there still a manual process? You can't be saying, I don't know what is the test procedure. Will it go for testing to the PGA or will it go for testing to an independent laboratory? If it goes to an, or will it go to a government certified laboratory, or will it be tested by the central laboratory themselves? You can't be doing all of that. In whatever area you are working, you have to know all these things. So that brings you to a question for people who are going in for the examination. It's perfectly all right to say, sir, I have dealt only in these 5-6 HSNs or these 5-6 CTHs. It's perfectly all right. You can't be saying that, no, I've done for everything. Because you've not done it. Because how you deal with chapter 98 is different than how you deal with chapter 21 or with chapter 72 or with chapter 84. It's completely different. So if you have not worked in those chapters, please don't try to show that I know everything and you can ask me whatever you want to ask me over there. So please don't make that mistake. Then also understand the role of the other stakeholders. Who is a stakeholder? A stakeholder is somebody who has an interest in it. So all the other stakeholders, you should know what is the role of a shipping line, what is the role of a surveyor, what is the role of other regulators, what is the role of a custodian. You can't be saying a custodian has to do this much. Why will custodian not do this? Custodian has to do this. You can't be doing all of that. You have to know. Everyone has a regulation. Everyone has a written down role. Everyone has areas are very clearly demarcated. Your area of work is also clearly demarcated. You are not a custom broker after Leo or out of charge. I've had people, commissioners asking questions that some cargo has come into the country and my office is calling you to give you a notice to give to your importer. What will you do? The correct answer has to be, sir, I have not received any documents from this particular importer, so I will not be able to take this notice. He has not appointed me. I will not take this notice. So you must understand where each person's job starts, where each person's job ends. Whoever wants to work as a custom broker must realize that it's a responsible job. It's a very responsible job, and any and everything you do will directly relate national sovereignty, national security. So what they want to see every time you go to them is what type of a person you are, what is your ability, how you are talking to them, are you understanding the macro while requesting for the micro, or are you just going in like that? So even when you go for this particular exam, you must be clear on all of this. They may not ask you a single question on whatever I'm telling you, but your answers will be influenced by your knowledge. The more the clarity you have, the more the knowledge you have, the better will be your answers when you give it to them, right? Then always remember, I always like to keep on repeating, who are you? We all forget, who we are. We all forget. We cannot be businesses. We are professionals. We are licensed by the department. Our job ends with Leo or out of charge. All those things is what we must know. I already told you all the story of the peacock feathers, which I wanted to share with you. HSN in relation to the PGA. That is something which is always at the back of the mind of everybody. And please remember that in the next few years, the PGAs are going to be so important. They are going to influence any and every way in which cargoes will move into the country or out of the country. So you cannot undermine the importance of the PGAs. In the last examination at one location, I don't want to tell you all the name, 80% of the questions asked to every candidate was PGA related. And that is why most of them failed the exam, because none of them could answer PGA related questions. You may say, I've not dealt with this PGA, but who is a PGA? Why is there a PGA? When do you go to the PGA? Those you must know. Irrespective of whoever you are, you must know those issues at that point in time. Then, as a custom broker or as a freight forwarder, and for those of you who are sitting for the exam, you have to do continual preparations. You can't say कि अभी मैं broker बन गया तो I've become a broker, so now I don't need to do that. You can't do that. Okay, now I've become a senior manager, I don't have to do it. At my level, even today, I do a lot of reading. I continuously keep on reading so many things, comparing them with the older activities and everything. So for those of you who's going for the exam, at least continue reading in the same manner. 2, always be clear on small issues. And also all new initiatives that have taken place. The number of amendments that have come in customs from 2017 are more than 3 times the amendments which came from 1962 to 2017. So in the last 7-8 years, so much change. And that is what is making it difficult for people to understand that I was doing this for 40 years now. Suddenly, what is this? I always looked at it in this manner, and now the view has changed. So that is what makes it a bit complex for all of us. For those of you who are sitting for the exam, I feel that if you take care of all these small things, your probability of passing the examination is very high. There is nothing told, no directions are given to the people who are taking the examination that you must pass only these people. What you need to keep in mind is that how does the customs hierarchy go, and how does customs train their officers in working? So when you are going to go in for the examination, or if you are going in for some other work to meet an additional commissioner or a commissioner, you have to be very clear that he sat for the civil services, he passed the civil services, he joined at a particular level, he has done at least 4 or 5 different types of work in the department. He might have gone to another department in the middle and might have come back. He is at least 20 years in his service, and he is taught from day one how to administer. He is not taught the domain. Custom officers, when they become custom officers, are not taught customs. They are taught how to administer the Customs Act. They are taught how to recognize people. They are taught how to judge people. They are taught how to find out systems of implementation. And that is why if you see that whenever you go with a problem, they are unable to solve your problems. But if you go with a solution and a problem, then they are in a position to think of it much better. And they will know that, yes, this solution, I cannot give you this solution, but I can give you this other solution. So you must remember that these are people who don't know the domain as well as you know the domain. Your knowledge of the domain is far better than their knowledge of the domain. But they are far superior, experienced in other areas, and that is why they are sitting there to judge you. So their questions also may be domain related, but they will be domain related only on the domains on which they have worked. If there are domains on which they have not worked, they will not ask you questions. Secondly, in most cases, you will face a panel of three commissioners. So here in front of you, there's at least 65 to 70 years of work experience judging you in that 10 or 15 minutes time that you are there. So you must be extra careful that I am appearing before three very senior people who are going to be able to see through everything that I am going to talk about. So that is why you need to be very confident, even if you are not giving the correct answer, by saying, I am not sure, but I think this is what I would do. Or you can say, sir, I am not sure, I will have to refer to this book to be able to find the answer. What they want to know is, are you in a position to at least tell them from where you will find the answer? You are not expected to know everything by heart. You are not expected. Even when you will do your work on a day-to-day basis, you have all the opportunity in the world to refer to the policy, to refer to the tariff, to refer to the Customs Act, to the GST, to the schedules, to whatever you want, to all the rules, all the regulations. So they don't expect you to know all of them. What they expect you to know, that there is something like that, it should be covered here, and you know that, okay, this is the place I will take the answer from. So be very, very careful over there that in the way you are approaching the issue, that this is how I'm going to do it, right? So be very calm. I'll just run through this again very briefly for all of you, and then I would appreciate taking questions from all of you, right? So first of all, always follow the ask principle. There's no harm. But when you are being examined, you can't ask. When you are being examined, you can't ask. When you are going to a senior officer for any work, at that point in time, you can't ask it. So you have to be very clear and humble in asking at any point in time. Secondly, always see why, how, and what. Even in our offices, when we employ no new people, even when we start working, we are only learning from our seniors how to do it. We are never asking our seniors, why am I doing? Why is there a shipping bill? Why is there an IEC? Why is there an HSN? Why is there an import policy or an export policy? Why drawback? Why RODTEP? We never ask the question why. We just accept it. And all we do is we try to make an effort to know how to do the work. But the trying to find out why all of it is happening, we don't take out the time. We don't also take out the time to continually upgrade our knowledge as to what are we doing. I ask this question to a lot of people, what do you do? And you'll be surprised, across the country, most custom brokers staff will say, we are dealing in export import. A custom broker or a freight forwarder is not dealing in export import. He is servicing export import. But he is not importing himself, he is not exporting himself, but most forwarders across the country say we are dealing in export import. I have visited more than 30 cities in India where custom clearance takes place, and I've talked to staff at all the places. But you ask a simple question, what is customs? They don't have an answer. Who is a custom broker? They don't have an answer. Even after 20 years of over there, you ask them, why did you not say no? They don't have an answer. You ask, why did you say yes? They don't have an answer. So you must be clear on the how, why, and what. So get your attitude in place, upgrade your knowledge, and use your skills to the best of your ability. Whenever you meet any senior officer and or you're going in for your exam, it's always an exam. You go for a permission, you go for an NOC, you go for a hearing, you go only to get an order on something, you go to get an order cancelled on something. It's always an examination. So all physical meetings are exams, and the man or lady is only going to see how capable you are. If you are capable, they'll be nice to you. If you are not capable, they'll not be nice to you. They are human beings. They could have had a fight at home in the morning and they could have come. They're human beings. They might have had a fight before you which has upset them. Or he might just be feeling at that time ki chalo, whoever is coming, let me do some time pass. Let me have some fun. Let me enjoy myself for some time. That can also happen. So you need to be very clear every time that look, whatever may be going on in your mind, whatever it is, I am not concerned with it, just as you are not concerned with me. We are supposed to talk on whatever is in front of us. So if I'm here for you to take my exam, you just take my exam. That has to be your approach. That is what has to get conveyed to the person very clearly. Then always go in undisturbed, remain cool, be well groomed at all points of time. I think Indians are very low at remaining well groomed at all times. And that is something which gets reflected very well. So whenever you are a well-dressed person, you're a well-groomed person, that officer subconsciously gives you extra plus points. If you are well-dressed and you go, then for those of you who are sitting for the exam, for the boys, my suggestion is white shirt, light blue shirt, light pink shirt, dark trousers, belt, matching color shoes. Your belt and your shoes should match. Your trouser and your socks should match. If you are comfortable wearing a tie, wear a tie. If you are not comfortable wearing a tie, don't wear a tie and then make a fool of yourself that it's very obvious that he's worn a tie for the first time in his life. If you are comfortable wearing a jacket, wear a jacket. Be formally dressed. If you are a person who likes to keep a beard, keep a well-groomed beard. You cannot be saying that I lived in another city, so today I did not shave. If your beard has to be well-groomed. If you are a person who's clean-shaven, you have to go in clean-shaven. Your hair has to be correct. For the ladies, I would recommend wear something formal with which you are comfortable. Don't try to wear something for the first time. You're comfortable in a sari, please wear a sari. Be careful that it is sober, it looks professional. Don't make it very gaudy, don't make it very colorful. Don't wear jari and all those sort of things. A silk sari, a cotton sari, anything is fine as long as you can carry it correctly. If you can't carry a sari correctly, a salwar kameez is also good. If you are comfortable with a trouser and a top, that is also good. Ensure that your nails and everything, your hands are neat and clean. Your jewelry is very subdued. Don't wear loud jewelry. Don't wear loud red lipstick. Wear it in a naked color or in a light color, but don't make it loud. Don't load yourself with perfumes and deodorants so that when you walk into the room, the whole room becomes, it changes the aura of the whole room. Please don't do that. You're comfortable wearing heels, wear heels because it gives you a different posture. If you're not comfortable wearing heels, don't wear heels the first time because then your posture will go all wrong. So be careful with that. Then when you sit down, please try and not fold your legs. You're not supposed to fold your legs when you are sitting with senior people. If possible, keep your hands on your thighs. Don't fold your hands. Don't interlock them. So don't do this. Don't do this. Try avoiding doing that. Put your hands on your thighs or your lap in a very loose manner and sit over there and talk to them. Normally, there'll be a single chair. There'll be 1 or 2 feet between you and the table, and they will all be sitting on the other side of the table. When you walk into the room, you will have to do anything between 3, 4 to 20 steps to reach your chair. So be very careful in the way you're walking in. Don't rush. Don't be very slow. When you go to them, please greet all of them. You don't need to put your hand out unless they put it out. If you are comfortable doing a namaste, that's the best way to greet them. For girls, if you're carrying a purse and a bag, please leave it outside. For all the boys also, please leave all your belongings outside. Don't take them inside with you. If you are not comfortable doing namaste, give them a smile. Don't make it very broad. Don't make it very weak. Give a normal smile. Nod at them. Say good afternoon, good morning, depending on whatever time you are going. Don't sit down. One of them will do a gesture or one of them will tell you to sit down. It is best to wait. You can't go in and sit down. Don't hold the chair from behind like this when you are standing. Just stand over there. They will only tell you to sit down. If they ask you your name, give your name in a very professional manner. I heard a lot of people saying, "What's your name?" Shah Samir. My name is not Shah Samir. My name is Samir. My name is Samir Shah. So I can't be saying Shah Samir. I have to say Samir. I can't put Mr. in front of my name. I can't put doctor in front of my name. I can't put anything else in front of my name. That he has to judge what is to be put. If I'm writing a letter, I may use doctor and things like that. But otherwise, I'm not supposed to do that over there. Don't go and say CA so and so. Don't go in and say advocate so and so. He knows everything. They have everything in front of them. When you are going in, they know they've already been briefed very well and they are senior people. So they will take less than 5 seconds to glance through your entire paper, which is put in front of them. Remember that the way you will convert your answers and convey to them your legal knowledge is what they are looking out for. So if they ask you a question, you don't need to answer immediately. If they ask you a question, you can take out the time. You can take out 2, 3, 5 seconds before you answer the question. If you want more time, you can tell the person, "Oh, sir, can you please repeat your question?" Or, "Sir, can you please ask me the same question differently? Sir, I didn't understand your question." Right? Please don't use the word madam. Use the word ma'am. Use the word sir. But don't use the word madam. It doesn't have a good connotation now in India. Always remember that it's your test and they are testing you. They are testing, are you sensible enough? Will you be careful enough to manage and maintain the sovereignty and safety and security of India in future? By giving you a custom broker's license, they are giving you a specific responsibility. So they would only like to see whether you are capable of matching to the responsibility that they are giving you. You have to know your subject, you have to structure your answer, you have to be confident, and you have to show you are a professional. Always remember, professional is not what you think of yourself. Professional is what the other person thinks of you. Professional is the way the other person refers to you. So it's not only your feeling in that manner. Then again, your grooming, I think I already spoke to you about it. Ensure that you're very well groomed. You've done everything. Don't be flustered. And they are going to look at the whole product. They will have enough time to look at the whole product. And if they don't have time to look at the whole product during the discussion, they will look at the whole product. So that you don't ever make a mistake over there. Then I already told you about greeting and managing your hands and feet. Be honest with your answers. Don't bluff. It's okay to say, I did not understand. I will have to check, but I think it is this, or I am not very sure, but I would do this. But it's not okay to say, I don't know. The moment you say, I don't know, it's over. So avoid saying, I don't know. Avoid asking each other. Avoid asking the person who went in before you, hey, what was the questions you were asked? How were they? They were friendly, they were nice, they were good. Don't do all of that. It doesn't help you in any manner. They have not decided that number 1 and number 3 and number 5, I will ask the same question. 2, 4, 6, I will ask the same question. They don't have all that. Their mood is different every time a new person walks in. You understand? So don't worry about what they do with others. Worry only about yourself. Then you must understand your role and you must understand broadly everything that is happening over there. Procedurally, what, why, when, who, where, how is what you should always know. Then you have to be clear on the role of all the stakeholders, not only your role, also the role of all the participating government agencies. My sincere recommendation to all custom brokers, existing and potential, please continue reading. There's a lot of reading to be done. It's not that simple. You will have to continue your reading and try and be as clear on small issues as you can.
For detailed learning of all logistics subjects, visit www.logiveda.com.